Hi, welcome back to another fantasy football segment of the series Sports Talk. Today we're going to do our Week 3 stardoms and situms. We're going to start with the stardoms as usual. Quarterbacks, we're going to start Matt Stafford against the Packers. Packers defense not looking real good this week. Gave up a lot of points last week to Geno Smith, who is not nearly as good a quarterback as Stafford. Stafford this year has a lot of weapons. Calvin Johnson, Golden Tate, Reggie Bush, boatload of tight ends. So look to start Stafford. He's going to have a great week. Also, you're going to start Cam Newton against the Steelers. Cam Newton doing everything he can to prove the doubters wrong, that he can be a decent quarterback with no receivers. He's been putting up decent numbers against the last two teams he played. The Steelers defense not looking as great as they should be this year, making Brian Hoyer and Joe Flacco look good. Cam Newton, for fantasy numbers, is better quarterback compared to those two. So look for him to put up some good numbers in this week. For your running backs, you're going to start Eddie Lacy versus the Lions. Look for the Packers to try to score a lot of points against the Lions because the Lions are going to probably score a lot of points against the Packers. Eddie Lacy get a lot of touches in this game. He's fighting concussion, so they're looking for him to get back on track, and to do that, they might just give him the ball a lot more. Also look for Knile Davis. He plays the Dolphins this week. Last week, the Dolphins made C.J. Spiller look like a god, and Knile Davis filling in for Jamal Charles. This week, will get a lot of touches, and he's similar back to C.J. Spiller, so look for them to use him the same way the Bills use C.J. Spiller against the Dolphins to exploit Dolphins' weak running game on their defense. For wide receivers, you're going to look for Cordarrelle Patterson against the Saints. I think the Saints and Vikings game is going to be a big shootout, like most games are in the Superdome, or most games are against the Saints. Patterson is the Vikings' biggest threat, especially with Adrian Peterson most likely missing the game. And that's it. That was my phone. We'll ignore that. So, also, wide receiver to look at is Pierre Garçon versus the Eagles. Now, Pierre Garçon has kind of been missing the last 2 weeks, fantasy-wise, not putting up a lot of numbers. I think this is the week he busts out, gets up some good numbers against a rival, division rival, like the Eagles. For your tight end, you're going to start Greg Olsen versus the Steelers. Greg Olsen is a top quality tight end, a bit underrated. And last week, the Ravens went to their tight end twice in the end zone. Of course, it was Owen Daniels instead of Dennis Pitta, but a tight end's a tight end. Start Greg Olsen. For your kicker, you're going to start Nick Folk versus the Bears on Monday night. I think Nick Folk for the Jets will get a lot of opportunities to kick the ball, most likely from deep, and he's a pretty accurate kicker, so start him this week. On defense, you're going to start the Patriots defense. They played really good last week, and they're going to play really good this week. Now for your situms, you're going to sit at quarterback Nick Foles versus the Redskins. Redskins defense quietly the best defense right now, according to points given up and yards given up. Points against, yards against. Quarterbacks against the Redskins, albeit one of them was Chad Henne, the other Fitzpatrick, not putting up good numbers. So you're going to sit Nick Foles. The other quarterback you're going to sit is Joe Flacco versus the Browns. Browns made Drew Brees look like a second-rate quarterback. Just imagine what they could do for Joe Flacco. For the running backs, you're going to sit Le'Veon Bell versus the Panthers. Panthers' defense is one of the top three, if not the second, only to the Seahawks. And they do a good job smothering the run. So sit Le'Veon Bell if you have other options. Also, you're going to sit Andre Ellington versus the 49ers. 49ers rush defense is really good. Look for the Cardinals to try to pass the ball through the air against the Niners this week, especially in the hot Arizona sun, where the air is thinner and the ball can travel farther. For your wide receivers, you're going to want to sit Terrence Williams versus the Rams. Rams defense is making up for their offense a lot this year, and Terrence Williams just isn't one of Tony Romo's favorite targets, unfortunately. I think he's going to throw a lot to Dez Bryant, and I think they're going to run the ball a lot more because that seems to be what they've been doing. DeMarco Murray is leading running back, so why take the ball away from him? Also, you're going to sit Vincent Jackson versus the Falcons. This game is the Thursday night game. It could turn out to be a shootout, but I don't like to start anybody playing Thursday night, and it's just not a good matchup for a Bucs team who is not designed to perform well in a shootout. For your tight ends, you're gonna sit Coby Fleener versus the Jaguars. Fleener, unfortunately, is not the tight end most fantasy owners want him to be. Everyone thinks, oh, he played with Andrew Luck in college, you should go towards him. Luck doesn't seem to have much faith in him. It seems to prefer Dwayne Allen a bit. Also, the Jaguars do a good job defending tight ends, so this is not the week to start Fleener. For your kicker to sit, it's going to be Ryan Succop versus the Chiefs. I just think this game is going to be really low scoring. So when it's low scoring, most likely you're going to want to sit your kicker. For the defense, I'm going to sit Eagles defense. While you're at it, sit the Redskins defense. Even though I said earlier the Redskins defense is one of the best, I just think it's going to be a high-scoring game. Eagles are going to give up a lot of points on the ground, as are the Redskins. I think this is all about the running backs. So those are your startums and situms for Week 3. Hope my video helps. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, like my Facebook page, and join me for all my other videos. All right, good luck with your fantasy week.